All right, this is another episode of the Founders Pack Form Your Own Pack podcast. My guest today is Tom White, and Tom is from our good friends at Stonks Tom. How are you doing, Tom?
Hey, doing any better? I would be you, Mike. Very happy to be here. Long time listener, first time caller of Founders Pack.
Excellent. Well, we're happy to have you. And for people that don't know, what is Stonks?
Totally. So Stonks aims to be the fastest, easiest way for accredited individuals to invest into the best startups. So starting with demo days, remote demo days. So instead of founders during the fundraising process, which is just a brutal slog, having many one-to-one meetings, what if we inverted that and they had one-to-many meeting that increased the aperture of potential funders they had access to? So we're starting with remote demo days. We have this product called Demo Day Vehicles that is basically Stripe or Shopify checkout for investing in startups. And we want to decrease the friction between founders and funders with the whole more macroscopic goal of making private markets, one, more transparent, two, more accessible, and three, just more robust and liquid. Because as companies are staying private for longer, a lot of individuals, unfortunately, if you look at the IPOs of 2021 of VC-backed startups, these individuals, if they weren't owners at the earliest stages, there were exit liquidity once those companies went public. And the average performance, I think, is down 80% or something year to date for any of those companies. So the whole genesis was during the Reddit retail rebellion, RQ alliteration. Ali, who is the founder, was like, hey, retail investors are becoming more active, more involved, and more in investing in public markets. Why is that not the case as well? So we're starting with accredited investors, and then just like Tesla, slowly but surely increasing the aperture of who has access. So I don't know when this will air, but stay tuned because we have some forthcoming exciting news about a new development on that front. So little tease, can't say what it is, but just inserting that in there.
So what excited, oh, you're frozen there for a sec. There you go, you're back. I don't know if it's your internet or mine, but this room might be a little weird. Can you see me okay?
Yeah, I can see you. Now we're back to good.
Okay, I'll cut it out, that part.
Perfect.
So I think I'm really excited about what you guys are doing. Founders Pack is, of course, run our own online pitch events for a little while. We've run 7 winner takes all pitch events where the founders stake $100 on their pitch and the winner takes the pot. So it puts a little bit gamification on the line. But you've kind of taken it to a next level with this platform. So what's kind of the experience for both founders or anyone that's participating in a pitch event that's a little bit different?
Totally. So our goal is to make what has been traditionally formal, a bit kind of buttoned up and boring, more interactive, dynamic, and fun, right? To put the fun in funding, as it were. So the format, we've kind of messed around with a lot of different formats just to see what's the best for founders, what's the best for funders. And fundamentally, the 3 main events that we do are demo days in partnership with VC funds, accelerators such as, Techstars, 500 Startups, Hustle Fund, LOI. There are a wide variety that bring their startups, to our platform to get access to our base of 50,000 users, 25,000 accredited investors, 1,000 VC firms, etc. And again, just to level the playing field a bit more of the best, most quality startups. So we vet all the startups that are on our platform, and we oftentimes, eat our own dog food and actually invest, whether it be our own personal capital or via the Best of Stonks Fund or the Y Combinator Access Fund or any number of things. So that's one. Secondly, we've been iterating with events. If you can't tell from this conversation, we love alliteration. So we launched Startups on Stonks Sipping Seltzer, which is a riff. Yeah, exactly. It's a mouthful. A riff on comedians in cars getting coffee, where I and my counterpart, Adam Hardy, turn the pitch into less presentation and more conversation to get to know the founder and turn what was beforehand two-dimensional into something three-dimensional. It's a different angle of attack, and it's a different piece of content for founders to be able to use to tell their story in a bit more of an authentic, relaxed, easy manner. The stakes aren't as high, and those are all asynchronous, and that leads to investments and introductions. And then last, but certainly not least, we have what we call customer rounds. So if a startup has a very robust group of customers that uses the product, really loves the product, and wants to get involved in some way, shape, or form, they can actually allocate capital to said startup on Stonks. So we recently ran one with a company called Opstart, which is basically a financial services as a service for various startups, and then one with Composer, which is automated trading strategies without using any kind of code or anything of that nature. So our goal is to get founders, funded as quickly as possible. Our demo day vehicle is the fastest checkout experience. We actually invert the process. We send funds first. We have investors send funds first and then do KYC second. So they're held in escrow. And if the individual does not do KYC or prove that he or she is accredited, we'll send it back to the investor. But by simply inverting that process, we've seen a dramatic increase in the conversions of founders getting funded when people say they're going to do it, as opposed to actually doing it. So again, many roads to Rome via different event formats and what have you. And we will test and iterate everything because that's what a startup will do. But we want to be the spot for early stage founders who want to fundraise as quickly and as easily as possible, from, an aperture of people that maybe haven't been funding startups and who should at the very least be aware of this asset class because companies are staying private for longer. At most, they should be allocating, a couple $1,000s perhaps to learn more about the asset class, because it's going to be important as, they age and they want to diversify their assets.
Very interesting. All right. Well, we're excited definitely for your fund first philosophy. And I think the one thing that we're excited about too is that we've decided that we're going to run our next 2023 winner takes all pitch events on the Stonks platform. So we're excited about that. What advice would you give to founders that are pitching on the platform?
Totally. So I think there are three main things I would tell founders. One, make sure you galvanize and market to your investors, to your existing customer base, to family, to friends. You want as many individuals at that event as possible, either synchronously or asynchronously. So make sure to utilize the marketing channels that you have in place to bolster attendance, if not for your startup, but then for the other startups that will be there, because cross-pollination we found is tremendously, tremendously valuable. Secondly, in addition to simply a founder talking his or her book, we find it really, really beneficial for founders to have an investor come up and talk about why they have conviction in the startup, a customer say why they love the product, because it's one thing to hear a rave review from someone that is, has a vested interest in the startup. It's another entirely to hear it from someone that has gained conviction via a third party or an individual that has been a customer and that has benefited from the product. And thirdly, just have fun. I mean, for me, authenticity rules, phoniness rules. I think in this age of like Instagram and what have you, I think there's a real backlash to like perfect stylized pitches and conversations. And for better or worse, venture capital is getting a lot less formal. And I think that's a net positive because individuals can come as they are, as opposed to coming as they think they should be. And if you think about innovation, and I hate that word, but
right, that's an important word.
no, it's just become a buzzword. It's like leverage or synergies or what have you.
It's actually a thing.
Yeah, no, fair. But if you increase the diversity of thought of those individuals that are, having conversations and striking up ideas, you're gonna have a faster, more beneficial, more equitable future. Or at least I would hope. That's my line of thinking.
I love it. So it sounds like the community is important to Stonks and founders in this, stage of their, raise. What has been the value of community or partnerships to the success of Stonks so far?
I mean, it's everything. I mean, reputation and trust, like fine china, are very easy to break, but almost impossible to repair. So we want to play long-term games with long-term people. We want to do right by individuals, because think about the asset class and the partners. This isn't like a public equities. This isn't a 5 to 10 month game. This is a 5 to 10 year game, right? If you invest in a seed stage, a pre-seed stage, Series A, you're going to be involved with the company in some way, shape, or form over the long haul. And if you apply short-term thinking to a long-term game or asset class, one, it's just not the right thing to do. Like treating people poorly is not the right, but also it doesn't behoove you and it doesn't benefit you in any way, shape, or form. So our partners, our customers, our investors, the startups that come on the platform, we aim to give them red carpet primo experience, because that's what we're about, right? Like, how do you, maybe the playing field will never become level, but we can hopefully tilt it a bit more back in the direction that it ought to be, by making private markets more transparent and less kind of opaque in that capacity.
Well, I applaud what you guys are doing. We're definitely excited about it. It aligns with our philosophy of, making, the process of being a startup founder less isolating and making sure it's more fun. So I think that's amazing that what you guys are doing. We're looking forward to putting our events on the platform. For people that don't know how to get in touch with you, what's the best way, Tom?
Yeah, you can either follow me on Twitter at Tom J White IV, or feel free to send me an email, tom@stonks.com. And as a creator / writer, I'd be remiss to not plug my newsletter. It's www.whitenoise.email. And that's
Right?
just my,
Noise. That makes
yeah,
total sense.
yeah, 100%, a little double entendre. But
Love
it's
it.
my thoughts about like behavior, the brain, psychology, philosophy, and like why we do the things that we do. And because we're all pretty irrational, myself included.
That's part of being human for sure. All right. So the final thing is, when we have interesting people in the Founders Pack, Form Your Own Pack podcast, we actually like you to nominate other interesting people who are founders or investors. We typically talk to people that are founders or investors in scalable startups, which I'm sure you have a whole ton of those. Who would you suggest that we talk to and that you can introduce us to for another episode of Form Your Own Pack podcast?
Amazing. So one person immediately comes to mind. He is also a fellow writer, and he is the founder of a company called Charter Space, which is making satellite launches more seamless.
Oh,
So
wow.
right now, satellite launches are done with email, with faxes, with phone calls.
Really?
It makes zero sense. It is a
Faxes.
tremendously inefficient rate.
Wow.
And they hope to, and this is a gross oversimplification, but just for the purposes of time, create Figma for commercial satellite launches to make
Wow.
sure
Okay.
everyone's on the coordinating via a product called Atlas. So his name is Yuk Chi Chan. I'm more than happy to introduce you. He's a very good friend of mine.
Amazing.
We've never met in person for COVID, but the coolest thing I think about him is he's literally a space lawyer.
That's awesome.
So
Wow. Okay.
he has
That's the
given
first space lawyer I've
talks
ever met.
he's given talks at the UN and the EU about space law and what does it mean to, exercise and practice jurisprudence in the great beyond, which is
That's amazing.
a whole
Wow.
other
Okay.
thing entirely. Yeah,
Well, that's a terrific nomination. We look forward to connecting. Is Yuk Chi Chen, is that correct?
correct. Yep. And I can make that introduction.
Beautiful. We look forward to having you on a future episode, Yuk Chi. Thank you so much, Tom, for participating today, and we look forward to staying in touch with you. Come back anytime.
Amazing. Appreciate it. Thanks, Michael.